want to make sure we have readily available for you guys. But before I get started in it, let me see if I can get this up real quick.
Can't hear it, Greg.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, it's a little box at the bottom when you share your screen. For you, it says share computer audio.
Oh.
You gotta click that on. Don't worry, I've been through
Let's do this then.
Yeah, we know the geniuses are the kids, bro.
it.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good
Let's do
morning,
this
Mr.
then.
Wigglesworth.
All right. Scott, I ain't gonna do that. I don't know what I'm doing with that. I don't want to mess it up.
All right, well, look, go, take it, carry on.
Well, y'all saw the visual. Today we have a guest, a friend of mine, a good brother of mine, named Mr. Paul Taylor. Some call him Taylor Paul. Um, we've been associates for quite some time, and in this field that we're in, sometimes we like to make sure we get our young folks equipped with the information needed to make them successful, like we do every weekend with you guys with Kappa League. But sometimes we need to have some courageous conversations about life and some of the things that we know as adults, um, that we want to make sure that you guys get equipped for as you enter your adult life. Um, the brothers like Mr. Jamal and Mr. Scott, who's been working with you guys, have been through pretty much every life experience they can probably tell you. Myself, the same, and but we have always make sure that we want to make sure we grab a group of black men, a group of men together to really understand that our youth is our future. And in doing so, each week we get on here, we talk, we give some conversations. Last week we did the Who Am I challenge, where we come from. I'm a firm believer that if you don't know where you've been, you can't go nowhere. You have to have knowledge of self. If you don't know who you are, then you really ain't striving. And my thing is that for my motto always is show and prove. Today I brought my buddy with me, and he's been going around the Commonwealth of Virginia, which is the whole state, and he's out of state today. And he woke up early this morning um, in his hotel room to say, "Hey, look, I'm gonna come help you guys out." Mr. Paul Taylor has been around for a while. He runs RVA League for Safer Streets, which is a midnight basketball program in Richmond. He's also a part of the advisory committee on juvenile justice and prevention for the Commonwealth of Virginia. He's also on the Commonwealth of Virginia's Criminal Justice Board. Both of these boards approve and direct funding for juvenile justice and all criminal justice matters in the city, in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Um, Paul has been across the country. He's been everywhere speaking. Um, he has a unique story. He knows everybody. He can pick up his phone and he can call anybody from Richmond to California to Washington D.C. to Washington, Seattle, Washington, and then come back home and chill and call up Bubba Chuck in Hampton and hang out with Allen Iverson. He has a unique story. But with this, like I said earlier, um, we had some issues over the summer in Virginia. If you guys knew about it, protests bring out in downtown Richmond and some parts of Virginia because of George Floyd's situation. Um, and Paul has been around and he's been working with some localities, having courageous conversations on, how do we mend our frustrations? How do we get to a better place where everyone's in an equitable and their equitable situation, environment? They receive the information that they need to receive. But at the same time, we don't have any animosity, we don't have any beefs, and we want to make sure that people can live a productive and long life. So with that said, I ain't gonna keep going into it. I'm gonna hand it over to my brother Paul Taylor at an undisclosed location in the Batcave, and he give y'all some food for thought.
All right. So yeah. So good morning, young man. How are you?
Good, good.
Good
Hallelujah.
morning.
Okay.
Good.
So I want to first start by saying, I had an interesting conversation, with a group of kids that some people may describe as needing an extreme amount of help. Extreme amount of help. So to see you guys, in the care of people that really care. I'm asking you to hold on to the people that you're seeing right now, your leaders, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Wigglesworth, and the likes of that, Mr. Hopkins. Hold on to these men with your molar teeth. Do you know where your molar teeth at? Those are the teeth that are in the back of your mouth. Hold on to these men. Hold on to these men because they're going to teach you the right way. You're going to come through some circumstances in life that you're going to have some people around that are not always going to see things the way that you see them or don't have your best interests at heart. So what I really want to talk to you a little bit about is finding your personal freedom. Everybody know what that is? Finding your personal freedom? Let me describe it. Your personal freedom is doing what you're supposed to be doing and not caring about who don't like what you're doing. What I'm saying is, if you have a friend and that friend sees you doing something wrong and that friend says nothing, then with friends like that, who needs enemies? Because only your enemy want to see you crash and burn. Let me say that again. If you have a friend and that friend sees you doing something wrong and he says nothing, then with friends like that, who needs enemies? Because only your enemy want to see you crash and burn. Now, I took the unconventional way of being here today. And what that means is this. When I was a kid, I was in juvenile detention. When I got older, they sent me to juvenile prison. When I got a little bit older, I went to jail. And then when I was older, I went to prison. I'm just coming home from only 3 years now, from being locked up for 23 years. And there's a lot of kids up here right there, is nowhere near 23. But I want you to imagine being away from that in which is familiar to you. Your mother house, that 2K, that Madden, being away from everything that's familiar to you, even going to school for 23 years because of one wrong decision, because I didn't have my personal freedom. Meaning that I was impressionable about everybody in my neighborhood. I thought that everything that was wrong was the coolest thing to do. And it took me away the majority of my life because of one decision. Now you're going to hear some things in your lifetime. One of my favorites is every action deserves a reaction. That's what people are going to tell you. Every action deserves a reaction. Well, I say every action deserves a reaction, but not immediately. Give yourself a moment to think. I remember seeing where white kids, their mothers or their families were like, "You're going in timeout, Timmy." And I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. But hindsight is 2020. Meaning reflecting back and understanding that I see clearly what that was about. That was giving them a moment to think. A moment to think. And I promise you that thinking will control your behavior. But back to personal freedom. There may be somebody up here that like Lil Baby, like The Baby, and all these famous MCs, rappers. But there may be one person up here that likes classical music. But because all of you may like hip hop, he will not reveal that he likes classical music because of his peers. Well, if that person is here today, then I'm talking to you and saying, find your personal freedom. It's cool to like classical music. There's an old saying, and that saying is, be yourself because everybody else is taken. Do not deprive the world of who you are. It's the reason that God gave you who you are. And it wasn't for you. Like what I have isn't for me. What Mr. Johnson has isn't for him. What Mr. Wiggleworth has for him, Mr. Hopkins and the likes of that, all of your educators, it's not for them. It's for them to give to you. See, God gave us something. We can't keep it. We can't be stingy with it. We have to give it to you. So I'm saying when I say find your personal freedom, do not be afraid to be who you are. There's a lot of kids that could be here, but they may not want to be. But you made a conscious decision to be right here to get some food, or as Greg said, some knowledge of self. Now, you may not believe this, but you kids are my grandkids' OGs. You are my grandkids' OGs, because I can say, Papa can say a whole lot of things and they'll listen, but they'll run off. But if you say it, if you show them how, then my grandkids are in good hands. And I'm worried about that because Mr. Hopkins just led to the protests that happened this year. You all seen it, the Breonna Taylor. They had a beautiful special on it. And I don't know if some of you kids watched it last night, but they had a beautiful special on Breonna Taylor last night on ABC. But I know you've seen the protesting in reference to George Floyd. And I know it scares some of you. But here in Richmond and New York and Cali and everywhere I've been since this protest, I've noticed that it wasn't led by old guys like me with gray in his beard or none of your elders that you see here. It was led by kids just a little older than you. The beautiful part is that I can tell those were kids that are getting or that have gotten what you're getting right now from your mentors, because they had knowledge of self. One of the most prolific things that I saw during protesting was a sign that a little girl had. And I'm not going to say it because we should not do cussing. But it was a sign that said, we are not our ancestors. We will pretty much get at you. And they wasn't saying, this little girl wasn't saying being physical with people. She wasn't saying how bad she can fight or throw the jab or whoop her oppressors. She was saying that we are not our ancestors, meaning you're not going to be able to tell us anything because we are knowledgeable of the tricks that you played against our ancestors. We're not falling for the same banana in the tailpipe tricks that you gave them, which comes to the reason of why you are here right now. The elders are going to give you all the tools that you need to be successful. All of the tools that you need to not fall victim to not politics, but politricks from our politicians. They're also going to give you the tools that you need to be strong men in your communities and leaders. Do I have any athletes up here? Okay, what's that, Jameer?
Jamir. Sir.
Jamir? Okay, what do you do?
I wrestle and I play football.
Okay, so are you a captain?
Wrestling captain, yes.
Okay, see? Building leaders. But let me tell you something. The best basketball player in the world, well, somebody might dispute it now, but they just won a championship, so it's going to be hard to. They consider the best basketball in the world to be who right now, Mr. Sherman?
Right now, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Okay, that's him. That's true. But who else would they say between him and who?
LeBron James.
Okay. So you remember when LeBron James was playing basketball with Cleveland, right?
Yes.
And do you remember he had a guy on the team with him by the name of Shane Battier? You don't remember that name, right? Because he's not as popular as LeBron James or the Greek Freak or none of these guys, right? Right?
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you something about Battier. Battier was the captain of the team, and he wasn't the best player, and he didn't have to have a C on his chest. You know why? Because everybody in the locker room respected him because of his character and his honesty and his willing to be. He wasn't the best dude on, man, Lord, he wasn't the best dude on the court. And my old heads is laughing a little bit because we know he wasn't the best. But his character, everybody in that locker room loved him for his character and would seek his advice because of that. What you have right now, Captain. So why are you captain of the wrestling team?
The coach recognizes my work ethic. He believes I am a hard worker. He believes that I have the ability to lead others and build other leaders.
And not just that. One of the biggest decisions that you're a captain, right, is all of the things above. But he also knew that your teammates would follow you. They wouldn't argue. I remember an old head back in the day, some people in the day, where, you know, people would talk about character. And it was one guy who everybody knew, you know, because he was an outstanding individual. And everybody would come to him for advice. Everybody would come to mothers, fathers, and this was a young person, but his character was so outstanding that everybody would come to him for advice. You know what his name was?
No, sir.
Jesus. His name was Jesus. You know? So I say that to you and whoever else is up here who's not a captain. You do not have to have a C on your chest to be a leader. But you will have to find your personal freedom. Be yourself because everyone else is taken. Now, I just told you, I was just talking to some students or some young people in one of the public housing areas. And they have some issues. And they're going to need some help. A lot of the times they don't know how to ask for it. But perhaps they may see one of you. And they may ask you for help. And it may not sound like the traditional way we know of somebody saying, hey, I see Houston here. Houston or Cameron or Joshua or Trish. They may not say, hey, man, I need some help. But you may be able to recognize it. You may be able to recognize it. And don't be afraid to offer it. Because I'm afraid for them right now because of the environments that they live in, where every night they have to wake up to gunfire, or a parent is not home, or they don't have mentors or leadership in their life. So they're going to look towards their peers. And some of you may go to school with some of those kids where they just need somebody to care about them, man. And you're never too young or never too old to care about people. And I want you to understand this. You're being groomed to be the leaders of our communities, to be well aware early. You see, I had to get it late. But my mom always said I had it in me. But I had to get it late because I didn't have my personal freedom. So is there anyone here afraid of the assignment? That's a question. Is anyone here afraid of the assignment?
Sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Well done, mentors. Well done, mentors. Because in every single neighborhood, and this is just for a second, young people, let me talk to your mentors for a moment. Every single neighborhood, you know, when I was a kid, there was always at least one man like you that cared about every kid in the community. He didn't have a whole lot. He didn't have a whole lot. But we knew that he cared about us. Kids, we need what you have to become contagious in our society. You see how COVID is so contagious? We need what you have to be just as contagious as COVID is in our society, in our communities. We need you to be the truth serum. And I'm glad you're not afraid of the mission. Thank you, kids, for letting me share that. Are there any questions?
Mr. Taylor, can you get the brothers and the young folks on the Zoom call this morning a little overview of RVA League? I know y'all just started this week, back up this week.
It started last Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So
Okay, cool.
all right, so I would be remiss if I didn't mention my partner Jawad Abdul, who, when we were inside of prison, we decided that, you know, we wanted to do some things to, you know, to give some humanity, put some humanity back inside of prison, and we wanted to right some of our wrongs. So we wanted to give back to our community. So while on the inside, we developed, you know, a plan for a basketball league, an unorthodox basketball league, if you will, called RVA League for Safer Streets, in which we get all of those kids that I'm talking about, and young men and a little older, you know, inside of a gymnasium, those neighborhoods that say they are beefing with each other. Well, we get them all inside of the same gym. And bear in mind, basketball is the shared value. Everybody likes to hoop. So we just use the shared value to get them inside of, you know, a gymnasium where they can put their differences aside. And we talk about problem solving, conflict resolution, and critical thinking. So our motto is no workshop, no jump shot, meaning before they even get on the court, we're going to sit in the stands and we're going to have some conversations. And we're going to have some conversations about what's going on right now, you know, and it's so amazing because especially during this climate when everybody is, you know, totally against the police department, you know, well, the Richmond Police Department also has a team inside of our basketball league. Now, we've been running since 2017, and the Richmond Police Department probably won about two or three games since 2017. They get the best of everybody, you know, and they played Wednesday night and they lost by 35 to Mosby. So that tells you how good the police department is, right?
Can y'all see that?
And also,
Yes.
we have the fire
Yes, sir.
department. They said, well, we want to get in on an action too, because we were trying to have some sort of community engagement because, and I have to say this, that's my partner Jawad right there. And I have to say this, that, you know, and I know what type, you know, what's going on with law enforcement, but I promise you kids, man, that not every one of them are bad. Not every one of them are bad, man. I've had conversations with a few officers that I know personally, you know, that called me on the phone crying, especially during the protesting when people were in their face spitting, and they was like, and they were crying like, why do they not think that I care about George Floyd? Why do they not think that I feel the same way they feel? You know, and they were crying, you know, and it kind of touched me, and I wanted to relay that to you because I don't want you to think that all law enforcement people, are overzealous or, are totally against us, because that's not the case. And you're talking about a man that once upon a time ago, they couldn't catch me. I had run from, I was a cold criminal. I'm not even going to sit and lie. And I used to hate law enforcement. Didn't like nothing about them, but starting to understand through that same shared value of basketball, I started to see that they got problems just like we got problems. They go through substance abuse. They go through violent scenarios. They go through a whole lot of different things themselves, you know. But let me make something clear now. The whole entire institution of law enforcement, it's a lot of them that aren't right. So make sure you stay safe. Make sure you stay vigilant in all encounters with them. But again, not all of them are bad, but they are probably more bad than good. All right. But anyway, RVA League is something that we're real passionate about, man. We just got started, and we wanted everybody to be safe. So they're calling it, pretty right, Greg, they're calling it RVA in the bubble, because every person that comes in, man, they do what we call rapid testing, rapid response testing for COVID. Every time they come in, they go in and they get tested, and we can have that result back in 15 minutes. And in those 15 minutes, man, it determine if they have COVID or not. And then they can go inside the gym, and then we get to it. So far, man, we've been beautiful, 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 no positive. But the beauty of it is, inside of our communities, the Jackson Wards, the Mosbys, the Hillsides, other communities, a lot of our young people don't want to get tested. They be like, man, they not sticking that thing way up my nose. They not doing. But here it is, that love for basketball. Every night they done got tested 3 times this week with the same thing they said they didn't want to, because of the love of basketball. But guess what? They walk out of there so confident, knowing that they are not COVID positive. So we're happy about that, man. So RVA League for Safer Streets, man. You guys think you might can put together a team? I don't know, y'all. Look, I don't know, man. Maybe Mr. Sherman he might can get to it a little bit. I don't know, man. Houston and Mr. Towns, little Mr. Towns, he look like a point guard. We might can get y'all boys in there. We might get you boys in there, get the youngest guys we can find, man. I'll let you guys. Oh, matter of fact, we do have a team. We have one team that's extremely young. The only reason they can't come in right now because we put the age restrictions at 18 right now, only due to COVID, right? But we do have a team, and it's a bunch of young men that are trying to find themselves. And you guys will be perfect for them to share some words with one day, because they're trying to find themselves. This team are kids that came from out of detention home that are involved with a program called the Life Program. And, we're trying to help them find their way. But you guys will probably be the perfect group to help them find their way by just listening to some of your stories and how you develop yourselves. Because as I said, they need you guys. They need to see what it's supposed to look like, because a lot of them just don't know, because they come out of their neighborhood and all they see is, a lot of shaking and moving. So they don't really know what it's supposed to look like. Well, perhaps you guys can be, the lightning rod to their success. So maybe we can get you guys lined up to play that young team. And I tell you, that's a tough young team. You think you guys can win?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what,
Yes.
Mr. Towns? I was watching you the whole time on my screen. Everybody on my screen, I was watching you, Mr. Towns. Basketball, you probably could be the point guard. You was like, yeah, you know me. And then the first person that says yes was you. Okay. All right, then we need to see about this, Greg. As soon as this thing get down a little bit, perhaps get you guys in the gym to check us out, especially during our championship game. And God willing, I was in Philadelphia a few weeks ago, and I had Allen Iverson, which is, as Greg alluded to, is a close friend of mine. He's my youngin. I pulled him up on the screen on a FaceTime so he could talk to a group of guys in Philly that are modeling what we do in Richmond, a bunch of kids, and I put him on the screen so he can talk to them, and they was really thrilled. So if I can get him to the championship, because he came a couple years ago when we was playing a championship game at I think it was John Marshall.
John Marshall.
Yeah,
No,
John
John
Marshall.
Marshall.
He came for me out one time. So if he comes, I get you guys in there, to say what's up, man. He'll love to talk to you, God willing, man. But if you lose the game, man, I don't know if you're gonna come, man. So y'all gotta win. All right. So thank y'all for letting me share that, man. And it's an honor to really be here. But remember what I said if you don't remember anything. You kids are my grandkids, OGs. Y'all are their mentors. And I need my grandkids to have good people in their life. Because for myself, my dad's dad went to jail. My dad went to prison. I went to prison. And now I have 3 sons that are in prison. And now I'm out here fighting for my grandkids, my grandsons, because they're not going to prison. And I need your help, Mr. Towns, Sherman, Houston, Tristan, Joshua, Cameron, Christopher, Zay, Amari, Sherry, Jamal, all of you. I need your help. I need your help. Because I don't want my grandsons to follow the same path as I did with my father, his brothers, or even my sons. So I need your help, man. And I'm appealing to you right now. It's real emotional for me when I think about it, because I know I failed my boys. I know I failed my boys, man. And you guys got some great mentors right here that refuse to let y'all fail. It's honoring that. That shield back there, you know what that shield is for? You know what that shield means? That shield means that you deflect any negativity that comes towards you. That's what it means. That shield. That's your badge of honor. You kids are relevant, man. And I just need you. I need you. No, I don't need you. We need you as a people to lead us. And I promise you, I'll follow you. Thank y'all for letting me share that, man.
Thanks, Mr. Taylor. I appreciate you stopping by this morning in your busy schedule.
Thank you, sir.
And Mr. Johnson, Mr. Wigglesworth, y'all got anything y'all want to share?
I'll defer to Mr. Wigglesworth first.
Oh no, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. I mean, just to hear the reinforcement of the things that we're trying to share with the kids. We always tell them that the exercises of Kappa League will develop young men who will be able to handle leadership responsibilities when the role of leadership becomes their duty. And they're coming upon that now. It's becoming their duty. And so speakers like yourself is spot on. I applaud you for the programs you're doing and the passion that you have for our youth. So thank you, Brother Taylor. Really appreciate that.
Brother Taylor got some nice RVA League for Safer Streets gear. We got
Gotcha.
got a nice jacket I've been waiting for, so one day I get it.
All right, well, so to get that jacket, you first have to be tested.
Hey, I'll get myself together. I'll try to get it done.
All right. So I just wanted to say, you said something profound here towards the end that really touched home with me, because I know some of the situations that our boys face.
Scott froze.
Looks like you froze up,
Yeah,
Scott.
he froze. Well, hopefully he'll jump back in. So everybody got a big day planned today? Anything exciting going on? Y'all ready for the holiday?
Yeah.
Y'all hungry?
Yeah.
You're not ready, Donovan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all getting some sweet potato pie, some patty pies?
Motherhood is.
Scott, we got you back now. Go ahead. You faded off.
Man, my internet is going in and out.
Yeah.
You had stopped at profound.
Yeah, he froze again. So I think that's where he
Oh,
up in the woods somewhere.
he is.
In the bunker. It's all good. But y'all ready for the holidays, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm ready to celebrate Houston's birthday.
Oh, birthday next week, right? Oh, big dog.
How old is he?
You be 12.
12 years old.
Yeah, you gotta get it right though. You gotta get it right. Houston Hopkins, Mr. Hopkins. You're gonna be all right. His birthday next weekend, and so we be moving into into maturity levels.
Yeah,
So,
man. This is phenomenal. Look, brother Taylor there was talking about, you know, the protest and all that, you know, being done by, you know, people not much older than these guys. And you know, I was looking back at a little Black history, you know, looking at the Little Rock Nine. You know what impact they made in history? And these were high schoolers. These were your age, guys. These kids were your age. Look them up, the Little Rock Nine. People your age. And they're still talking about them. They're still talking about it. This was back in the 60s.
there you go.
They changed the world. They changed the world, man. High school kids changed the world, man. And man, we want y'all to do the same, man. You all have so much potential, And man, I just love what you said, brother Taylor. I mean, man, you just hit home on so many points, from so many aspects, from so many perspectives.
I appreciate it.
Just loved it.
I appreciate it, sir. Kids, I remember it just dawned on me when you said that about, you know, it was a saying that a person said, and I'm not going to say his name because, you know, in some of his old literature, in which is, you know, prestige literature to white America, you know, but, you know, even from some things there is truth, you know, and regardless of where it comes, there is some truth in some things it said, regardless of who it comes from. But I'm not going to mention his name, all right? But he said it's two things that a man or a woman has to know. And the first one, he said the day that they were born, like Houston, you know, the day that he was born, right? And the other one was the day that he finds out why. The two things, again, he said, that a man or a woman has to know. The day that they were born, and Houston, you was born when?
November 28, 2008.
Sherman, Mr. Sherman?
August 28, 2003.
Mr. Towns?
May 28, 2009.
Mr. Hopkins? Never mind. That's prehistoric. Never mind. So the two things he should know is the day that he was born. And the second thing is the day that he finds out why. What's your purpose? And if you can get it early, whew, I told you I had to get it late, the unconventional way. I had to do everything the hard way. Man, if I had a Kappa League, man, I probably would have been stepping in everything. If I had I would have been all right. You know, although my big homies that, you know, that did do right and went to school, although they was Qs, but it's just something about this Kappa, they just had a different swag with them, you know? They had a different swag with them. So y'all got some going for you right now, all right? The day that he was born or she was born, and the day that he finds out why. Start thinking about what is your purpose? And the why. Because in our society, we forget about the why. Everybody wants this and everybody wants that, but they forget about the why. Even in our legal system, when it comes to our young people that may do some unconventional things, And then they go to court and an overzealous judge sends them away. But nobody ever asks why. They don't know that he had to be inside the house where his parents may have been gone, and he had to make sure his little brother and sister can have some food. It's the why he was in there, and he's always stealing. Because nobody asks why. My mother told me, because my ears used to sit out, like they used to be like about right here when I was a kid. They just sit out. And kids used to joke me. And they said that my ears look like question marks. But mommy told me my ears are shaped like question marks, because if I ever hear something that I don't understand, ask the question so I'll know. Why? Never be afraid of the assignment, young bloods. Everything's going to be just fine. I'm confident.
Mr. Johnson, you good? I think Mr. Johnson still froze Mr. Wigglesworth. Oh, there go Mr. Johnson right there. I got two Johnsons.
Oh yeah, he done dipped into a whole nother room. Yeah.
I had to do what I had to do because
Yeah.
I can't figure out what's going on right now with this internet. But what I was alluding to earlier was the responsibility of fatherhood, and all of these young men at some point in time will become fathers, and I want them to understand the choices and decisions that they make, how they affect their families. And hearing when you said that, I always want our young men to understand how important your fathers are and what the impact that can have on your life and your choices and decisions. You may not realize it right now, but once you become a man, you will definitely understand how important and how impactful that is. So to hear you say that, it just resonated with me. And I hope that they understood and they take something from the whole conversation that was had today. And I appreciate you for taking time out your schedule, wherever the bat location is that you got up that early this morning to join us. I greatly appreciate it. And I want to say to Mr. Hopkins, we appreciate you for facilitating this and bringing this together. And hopefully this won't be our last time having a conversation.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Brother Johnson and Brother Taylor.
And I just got the memo that Lil Towns is an AAU superstar. You almost got me. You can cross up now on my little RVA dudes, man. No, man. We might have to take a look at you, but no. Yeah. I just got the memo about you. I'm gonna do my research on you.
All right. Well, that's all we have for today. And again, we appreciate you. Appreciate you for joining us, and look forward to seeing you, and we'll be tracking you.
Thanks, you. Thanks, Scott. See y'all later.
Yeah, thank you.
All
You
right.
going hot dog?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All
God
right.
bless you, bro. God
Brother
bless you.
Walker on here. I see Brother Walker.
Hi.
Have a good day. Happy Thanksgiving.